Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Katrina, and these are my group members, Louis, Ethica, and Will. Today we're going to be presenting our marketing strategy for the GLS, the German Language Society, and what we've envisioned by combining our data, research, and recommendations is what we call a tripartite solution, and this will consist of 3 prongs to be implemented simultaneously, and those are technology, education, and cooperation. What we mean by technology is integrating the GLS's current information dissemination systems onto multiple online platforms. And the platforms we currently recommend would be firstly a website, and secondly a Facebook page. We wouldn't recommend a Twitter page at this time because it requires extensive daily upkeep. So perhaps when the GLS expands more, you might consider investing in a Twitter page. But currently the GLS's online presence is next to non-existent. If you Google search the German Language Society, there are 2 primary sources that pop up. The first is the German Embassy. As you can see, the last update was in 2010, 4 years ago, which gives doubt to the user as to whether or not the GLS is actually currently in existence. We go back to Google. The second web page that pops up is meetup.com. We're going to click that there. And this is the DC German Language Meetup Group, which is for language learners. It's not actually associated with the GLS, although they do participate in some events. So now I'm going to transfer it over to my colleague Ethica, who's going to go over our mock Facebook and website pages.
So as Katrina noted, this is a mock website. So essentially we used Wix, as mentioned before, in order to make a website. We tried to rebrand the logo to be more technologically adept and appeal to more of a modern population, as well as more of a historical population, both of which will view the website. So essentially we were trying to make a very type of simple website in order to appeal to both sorts of populations, both modern, millennial, and perhaps baby boomer population. So we have a lectures page, and essentially the lecture page will have in clear format the title of the lecture, as well as important facts that will be learned in order to carry out that lecture. And so it will be able to communicate to the target audience what exactly the German Language Society does, their lectures, as well as just the people who are involved in that. So we also have an About page, and the About page, in order to emphasize the motto of the German Language Society, we posted at the top. And it tells a bit more to our target audience exactly who the German Language Society is and the importance that it carries into its community. And there will also be a gallery as well as board members who will emphasize just who exactly the German Language Society is. Also, we have a Facebook page, and with the Facebook page, it's to increase interactions with, I guess, one of our main target audiences, the modern population, which is the millennials. And so essentially when a person clicks on an event, what happens is it will show up in their newsfeed. And when it shows up in their newsfeed, then the people within their network can see exactly what that event is, who it's associated with, and thus they can learn more about the German Language Society and gauge interest, not only with the person who's joining the event, but also in the networks surrounding that event. So now I will carry the conversation to Louis Sutter.
Actually,
Sorry about that.
Will James. When we're looking at where we find younger demographic people who would be interested in the GLS, we have to look for the areas that will have the most people we can bring in. Of course, we're at the point in DC where, in terms of immigrants to the DC area, immigrants to the DC area, Germans don't even rank in the top 27 at this point. On top of that, German language speaking in households as the primary language is down 35% since 1980. So you have to look elsewhere. I was watching a documentary that's talking about gold and gold mining for a class project. And they say that most of the gold we haven't mined or discovered because it's in such small quantities spread through such a large area. But of course, in 1849, everyone went to California because that's where all the gold was. And we like to think of German speakers as little flakes of gold, and we're looking for the big deposit. And we believe the biggest deposit is going to be educational institutions, which of course DC has plenty of. We're going to use universities to draw on younger members, of course. There isn't a German language teacher in the DC area who wouldn't pass along information trying to get their students to participate in an interactive form of the German language, listening to lectures, going to meetings afterwards. So it's a great way to bring in other people. Beyond that, another idea for the German Language Society is to find speakers who will appeal to younger audiences. Of course, if you're going into these educational institutions, it's going to line up in a lot of ways because any lecture is going to have educational value, and that's the same thing with younger people. They want people who will appeal to them, and a lot of the speakers that you have will appeal to a large amount of people, but to spread a wider net, if you will. You'd want to find maybe some younger speakers, maybe some people who appeal more to the younger generations, and that way you will have more events than you would anyway. You're going to attract more people, and I think some of your current members might like to see what makes younger people tick in terms of the German side of things. And I think this will create a cross-generational understanding, a cross-generational relationship. Of course, as many of us have pointed out, you have a great opportunity here to establish some job/internship positions, because the great thing about people our age is when we're looking for the best job for the summer or whenever, we're not looking so much for a salary, we're looking for how will it look on a resume, what experience do I get from this, and I think the GLS is a wonderful experience. Not only to bring in people who will help you out with the media integration and what have you, but will also become active members who can bring in other people in the mix, right? The great thing is that students can be your #1 marketing source. The #1 way that people start using a brand product, go to an organization, is still through word of mouth. That's the #1 way. And what's made that even significantly more effective is the use of social media, which thankfully younger people use way too much. So you're going to get all kinds of people coming to the German Language Society by integrating, by bringing in students who can talk about the German Language Society to their peers. I think this is where I hand it over to Lewis.
Yes, and I will be discussing the last facet of our tripartite solution, which would be the increased cooperation between other German organizations within the district. So we've kind of split this into two categories. There's the organizations that you already have existing cooperation with, and there's the potential for new partners. So one of the very important things is the increased cooperation with existing partners. This can be accomplished through some of the other aspects that we mentioned, especially technology. Increased social media activity and partnership with these organizations, for example, the embassies, means that if you post something on your webpage or on your Facebook and it's connected to the embassy's Facebook, it will reach their network, also greatly expanding the amount of people the message is brought to. And it will also, the increased use of technology in terms of communication, say email, listservs, that type of thing, will also ease the amount of the manner in which you communicate with the embassies, and would facilitate quicker and more efficient organization of events, especially, for example, say if there were collaborative events. The second facet would be actively seeking partnerships with other organizations that you maybe haven't contacted yet as much in the DC metropolitan area. This could include the Wagner Society, the Goethe Institute, the various language departments at universities, and perhaps even the language departments at local high schools. I know I work at the Goethe Institute. I often field calls of teachers who are interested in bringing their students into field trips to kind of like get them interested in German culture. So I think the GLS has a great opportunity there to do similar things and draw in that same demographic. This also ties into the social media thing again. If you again connect your pages to these institutions, you'll reach a much larger network. This is also very attractive to the demographic that we're trying to appeal to, which would be younger people, students. The bigger your network is, the more attractive it is to the students, since they will be attracted to the German Language Society events, partially because of the networking opportunities. But again, also connecting with the educational facilities will be very important because they would be they would very much like to have the opportunity to give their students a place to practice German language, which is the point of the German Language Society in the end. So now I'll transfer to Efka, who will very quickly go over our research and data.
So we broached the topic of researching by submitting a poll via online social media. And essentially what we did is we took 35 different people in a survey and we asked them what their best promotional methods were. And they actually chose Facebook events, university promotions, and email over things like Twitter, over postal mail, and over flyers and bulletins. So that is one of the reasons why in our tripartite solution we decided to have Facebook events, university promotions, and email as part of the technological facet. So here's basically a diagram of our entire tripartite solution, which has cooperation, technology, and education. Education connecting all the schools, which connects via social media to the website. And from the website, they learn about our events, and they can attend lectures, social media, etc. Thank you.
I would certainly agree with you that this the synergy of partnering with different institutions that are already doing something like what we're doing would be very powerful. And appreciate the graphics as well as the verbal suggestions here about doing such. And also your original research. Do you think that the German club here at GW how many members are there? I'm curious, and how much turnover is there?
As far as membership in the German club itself goes, I'm not 100% sure. I would say it's probably around at least 100 students, and 70 to 80 usually. It would be a relatively quick turnaround since the students are usually only involved for 4 years when they're attending the university. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not the right time to get them interested in the German Language Society. So what they take away from their membership in the German club and that relationship with the GLS, they can maybe also carry that over to their professional lives.
And also one other facet that we were looking at was the German School in Washington, D.C., which has people who have been brought up from childhood to adulthood with the German language. And I guess having gone to their Saturday classes, I feel that that would be one of the key components to bring more of the youth population into the German Language Society and their events.
Again, maybe like field trip type events, that are sponsored by the German Language Society to get young children interested.
I have a question regarding the social media. So, I mean, Facebook obviously could be very helpful in our campaign, possibly Twitter later on. I wonder though, are you familiar with LinkedIn, which is used, well, Fred and I use it quite extensively, and it's in our line of work, it's one of the things that we're allowed to use, so we use it. Do you think that that would have some potential as well, or if so, more or less than Facebook in terms of reaching out to new people?
I think definitely LinkedIn is a great resource to use, particularly for, I'd say, older professionals who actually have their own network on LinkedIn. We suggested Twitter and Facebook to address a kind of younger population like our age who extensively use that type of social media. But I would say using all three would be a great way to get multiple audiences to come.
Yeah. Our approach was more kind of like easing into it. So starting with the Facebook, seeing where that goes, and then once you're comfortable with that, kind of branching out into more and more social media and connecting them as they go.
Also, in terms of LinkedIn, it looks more towards the job market, and I guess the German Language Society, right now we're looking more towards students getting a younger population on a minimal budget. So in that case, we would look at LinkedIn later on when the German Language Society has established itself and gone through these phases to, I guess, establish a professional sort of relationship with its network.